skills.
That's great.
Yeah. Good. 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 Because we'll take some time to just keep talking about notes and whatnot. So, I always like to do a little test when we start. So the note on bless is what?
C.
C. Note for my
A.
and soul.
F.
F. Yeah, nice. So FAC, and then the E is the final space at the top. Yeah, sorry guys that everything's really slow today. So bear with me.
Can I ask a question, Daniele?
Yeah, of course.
You know that little rest that you've got the little dot on now? Is that a half beat or is that a full beat?
It is worth a quaver, so is worth half of beat 4.
Yeah, cool. So it's half a crotchet beat.
Half a crotchet, yeah, which is a quaver, yeah.
Amazing.
The reason I get a little bit cautious of using the word half, just because a half note is a minim, which is actually 2 beats long.
That little dot thing, yeah.
So, but when you're talking relative to something else, then absolutely half a crotchet beat would be more accurate to say rather than half a beat, because sometimes we don't know how long a beat lasts for. Cool. Could last for a long time. So nice pickup. So here we go: beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, and as it keeps up, bless my soul, Herc. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So that quavers on the and of 4. Does that make sense, everyone? Nice, simple rhythm. We get a bit of syncopation. Syncopation is when we're on the offbeat, which is the and of 4. And not only is it syncopating, it's anticipating. So when something anticipates, it's actually alluding to something that's just about to happen. So that chord, this chord, we'd commonly want it to appear just on the 1. Da, but it anticipates it just by half a beat. It comes a little bit earlier, whilst the left hand is still doing an F. So da, 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 da. So that's the anticipation there. Okay. So this will happen a lot in soul pop music. The chords are just preceded. They precede the beat just a little bit to create a bit of syncopation, a little bit of rhythmic interest. Q, what note do we have here on Herc?
E flat.
E flat. Nice. Good. So now we're going into modes, but we won't touch on modes yet today. Maybe we'll do that a bit later. Good. So any questions on some of these chords? As I'm trying to focus in on them.
Just for clarification.
So
Beck?
So when it's like, so say that E flat / F, you just play F in the left hand and the E flat is in the right.
Yep. E flat chord in the right hand, left plays an F.
Cool. I don't know what I was doing, but it was not that.
When you were playing slash notes and stuff?
Yeah.
You know what? If I played a song like this, I'd probably shove the F into the right hand as well, but that's just my personal preference. That's just my own taste coming into it. See, I'm still playing an F in the right hand. Bless my soul, focus on a roll.
question.
Yes.
You know, it's a B flat and it swings into the next note, which is also a B. Is it still a B flat? Because it doesn't have the flat bit, but yeah, it's just assumed. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we've got the note is anticipated. Not only is it anticipated, it's tied. Generally, anticipated notes will be tied. Generally. So it's just a little bit long. So it's tied. When a note is tied into another bar, there's no need to re-articulate the accidentals. Okay. The accidentals being flats or sharps.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and you'll see that it occurs, but note that on the word roll, on the word the E flat has to come back.
Yeah.
So the E flat comes on board during the tie, But then any other subsequent E flat that you want, you need to create a flat because every bar is going to completely reset itself.
Yeah.
Even if it's tied over.
Okay. Why do you mean
Sometimes.
even if it's tied over? Because that's tied over and it's a different bar.
So it's tied over. So these guys are E flats. Yeah. You happy with that?
Yeah.
But then this guy's an E flat.
Yeah.
But it still has to be labeled.
Yes.
So I couldn't just not label it.
Yeah.
I'd have to relabel it.
But if the E flat on Herc was in the second bar as well, then the A wouldn't be labeled.
Yes.
That didn't really make sense.
If there was no tie.
Yeah.
And there was a flat here.
Yes.
Then I would not. Let's not worry about the vocal for now. Then I would. I rearticulate the flat.
Yeah.
And I don't need to say it again.
Ah.
But when it's tied over, it needs to be said again because it's tying over the contents of the previous bar.
But it didn't.
For the properties.
It's a new bar and it's not saying that it's another flat. Am I right?
Are you talking about this one? When it's tied over?
Yeah. So it's tying over into the next bar and you're saying that it doesn't need to be. No, that it does need to be rearticulated in the next.
Has to be rearticulated if the note is not tied over. So the word.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if an E flat has to come back around, then there has to be a flat next to it.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I ask a question on it?
Oh, some bacon. Yep.
Going back to the E flat over the F.
Yep.
Would you? Because obviously that's written as a chord there, the E flat, B flat, and the G, right?
Yeah. E flat, B flat, G. There's your E flat
major. Would you always play
in
that and not
just
like the E flat chord, like a non-triad?
In root position?
Yeah.
I would, again, it's all context-based. Yeah, it's all context-based, so it really depends on the song. But if I wasn't reading the notation, then maybe I would play the root position. But because I'm going to play it in inverted. But say you were just reading the chord symbols, da, da, you could do that. You could just step right down to the E flat, da, da, then just step down right to a root position. Because the accompaniment, and I can see that the accompaniment actually follows the melody a little bit. Da, da, da. So now I'm in what inversion F major chord? In my right hand.
I know. Do you go root first or root second? I don't know how to say it.
So there's root is
one?
The first, but first is first and second is second.
So I was confused yesterday because I was talking about it and I was like,
so that's root position.
Yeah.
And then this is first position, and then this is second position.
Ah.
So all I'm doing is just stacking a note from down the octave and bringing it up the octave. You could just keep doing that until you come back to the root position. So there's root first and second. It does get a bit confusing, but think of root as more of a zero rather than.
Oh, sorry. You're just saying that root is 0 and the next one's...
The next one is, sorry, you chopped out it there, but root is root. Sorry, root? No. Root. First and then second.
Okay, so it is...
They're different. They're all different.
It's 0, 1, 2, basically.
Yeah, think of it as a zero rather than a number. Yeah, so 0, first, second. Yeah?
Right.
Now, if I'm playing, as I was saying, so I'm playing all in root position. Bless my soul, Herc was on a roll. So then I just move to the E flat in a root position. That's fine. No issues. Because they're the closest. F major in root position to E flat in root position are the closest. But if I want to actually invert the F major chord whilst the singers are singing Bless My Soul, so I'm going to go Bless My Soul. Yeah? Da, da, da. So I'm actually just playing the F major chord. Root position, second position, first position.
Oh, okay.
How you doing? You're giving me some frowns, some serious frowning.
It's like, why would you do that though? That just seems like so much trouble.
Why not? It's more
Can I
interesting.
see the first?
Say again, sorry.
What's the first one you did? Was
I can't.
Oh, so root.
Yes, because it's F. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. My soul. Yes, that's melody. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding. Bless. But I want to harmonize the melody. I don't want to just play melody. I don't want to play like this. I want to make it a bit more interesting. So I'm going to play an F major chord. Melody on top. Remember how sometimes I said don't play the melody? With a song like this, I would totally play the melody. It's much more interesting. So that's second inversion F major. Meanwhile, just to iterate, it's second inversion in my right hand, but the bass is still playing F. Okay, it's important to note. But the shape in my right hand is playing a second inversion. So right now, it's my shape in the right hand is playing root. Shape in the right hand is playing second, and then I'm playing first inversion. So I'm going backwards in the inversions. That's probably why it's a bit confusing. So the reason I'm noting that out is because when you say, oh, do I play the E flat in root position? Well, say for example I did play da da da. I'm not going to jump back up to that E flat in root position. It's too much of a jump. So I'm going to go and now I need to find the quickest way to an E flat chord from these notes. So where would I move my A?
G.
Where would I move my C?
The B flat.
B flat. And where would I move my F?
Flat.
E flat. So there's my E flat chord.
Okay.
So that's voice leading though. That's what I refer to as voice leading, when you're trying to find the shortest distance possible from one chord to the next chord. Meanwhile, I'm putting together a bit of information because I'm looking at the chord symbols, but I'm also looking at the accompaniment, and I'm like, oh, okay, the accompaniment sort of follows the melody a little bit. So when I play this, I'm kind of not just going to go chunk, 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 I want to actually have some sort of contour to my playing. Yeah, even this weird B natural, which is super strange. It's under the word soul, under the word my. Bless my. It's very strange, but it goes by so quickly that it's just very traditional for gospel music to just have some anomalies like that. Da, da, da. So all the music is doing is just bouncing around E flat and F major, whilst the bass is what we call pedaling. Okay, when something pedals, it's generally just one idea constantly. It's pedaling. I would say it's pedaling on an F. It's just going dum 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 dum, and eventually it changes. Does that concept make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Pedals can be, you could have pedals can be anywhere. You could have a singer going like somewhere up there, just going, bless my soul, her goes on a roll. I'd be like, okay, you're pedaling the F, random soprano, but not for this song. It just sounds so strange. So, because I want to show you some of the 3-part for this, because it gets really interesting. We can see that the bass moves. So we get, bless my soul, E flat over F, back to F, back to E flat, F over A. What inversion's that?
What's that? F over A.
So it's F major over A. Which inversion? What chord is it? First inversion. Yeah, it's just an F major over A. So it's the when the major chord is built on the 3rd degree. So remember, a chord is made up of scale degree 1, scale degree 3, and scale degree 5. When the bass note is scale degree 3, but it's still that major chord, then that's first inversion. And just to reiterate, your right hand can play in various different inversions, but the bass can still be the root position. Okay? So I'll try to talk about both things, because I'll try to talk to you if you're playing the piano, which is to say you're going to have to you're going to have to find different shapes of playing certain chords, but it's still an F major. If I go, my right hand's inverting, but the bass is still F. So it's still root position. Because that, when you're talking about the whole like sonic spectrum of the song, it's actually more about what is the lowest note in the chord. Yeah. But in this case, the F over A, that is a distinct inversion. That is an inversion. That is first inversion. So it just come from person of the first inversion F over A, which is just leading you to a B flat. Yeah? B flat. B flat, D, F. Any questions so far? Making sense?
So the B flat, on top it says a G though, yeah?
Yeah, there's a G. So this is where it gets a bit tricky. Because if you did play... so I'm half using my discretion. I wouldn't... So I'd probably... This is just my mind, right? So I go... Da, 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 do, da, da, da. I actually wouldn't go... Do, da, da, do, da. It's a bit too square for me. I'd let the singer do that. Da, da, do, da, 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 rather than da, da, do, da, do, da, 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 da. Just a bit square, okay? Now, there is a G there, okay? And it's... I might talk a bit about it in our intermediate class because it's a cheeky G.
Now you just played the B flat D F?
Yeah, although if you wanted to get fancy, you play B flat 6. So a B flat major scale. And then to find scale degree 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my scale degree 6. And so I play B flat. You've noticed that there's a G in the melody, so, you might throw that G into the chord. So then I'm going to add a G to my B flat, which is a B flat 6. It doesn't make a world of difference. It's the least colourful of notes.
Yeah.
I put it in the left hand though. Sorry, I put it in the... I clashed them down just underneath middle C. But don't stress too much about that. We've got another 2 inversions. Okay. So what chord and what inversion is this? This is underneath this is beat 3 of bar 8.
B flat over D, that one.
Yeah, so which inversion is this? So you find my B flat chord.
The root position?
It'd be root position if the D wasn't... Oh, sorry. What I'm playing is root position. Yes. What I'm playing is root position. Just to show you what notes are involved in a B flat chord.
The second.
Not quite. I think you're getting your numbers confused, potentially.
0, 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute.
So
D.
What is the bass note of the chord?
B flat.
The chord symbol is B flat over D, so that's what we're looking at now.
Yeah.
Don't look at the notes I'm playing. I'm actually just giving you the major chord in its root position, just to give you a bit of context. So the chord is B flat over D. Okay. So the reason I'm not giving you the shape is just because I want you to sort of work it out sequentially. So I'll just give you the plain B flat. The chord is B flat over D. What scale degree is D in B flat?
Oh, the third.
Third.
Oh,
And so therefore, what inversion is it?
First inversion.
First inversion.
Gotcha.
So there's just one way in, okay? Another way in is to look at the chord symbol I created, and then you go B flat, D, F. Okay, B flat, D, F. Okay, the bass note is a D, all right? If the lowest note needs to be a D, then I need to change my lowest note. So the what I'm playing now is incorrect, so I have to put the B flat up an octave. Ah, okay, it's first inversion. Sure. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
different ways in. Different ways.
The B, sorry, it always goes from the bottom, which is, wait a minute, I'm getting confused now.
That's root.
Oh, yes, of course, sorry.
And that's first, and that's second.
So
Nope.
when
And then do you put the D in your left hand as well?
Yeah, D in the left hand.
One? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, important distinction to make, because we're going to keep coming up against this. There is inverting in the right hand, and then there is inverting in the chord as. And when I say the chord, I'm talking about like the full stack chord, as in what happens in the composition, what the bass player does. So there is inverting in the right hand, but then there's inverting with your whole hands, because now we're not just thinking about the right hand, we're thinking about the whole context, which means that as long as I play a D in the left hand, I can play any iteration of B flat in my right hand. I just need to make sure that the lowest note that is being played is a D. But I can play any form of B flat in my right hand. How are you going with that?
How do you determine what one is good to play?
As in how to voice my right hand?
Yeah.
Or
is that just taste?
What were you going to say, Beck? I'm going to sort of field these questions. I think there's a few.
So with that chord, with the B flat over D, so you, to figure out like the inversion, so like you would play a D as like that's your first.
Yeah.
That's like in your right hand, that's like your first note. So like you wouldn't just play like a regular B. I mean, you could, but
sure. Let me elaborate a little bit. So, the main thing that I'm sort of trying to push here is that rather than just thinking about the right hand, we're gonna have to, as we continue learning, start to really think about the two hands as creating the whole chord rather than just the right hand playing the chord. So, what creates an inverted chord is the lowest note on the piano, or the lowest note that's being played. Because both your hands are playing the chord, generally speaking, the lowest note is going to be played by your left hand.
Mm-hmm.
So the main take home is that as long as your left hand is playing that D, your right hand can play whatever. As long as it's playing a B flat chord. So then we start to go, well, actually, do I want to play this kind of B flat in my right hand just because it's comfortable and maybe I just came from a shape similar to that? Or maybe do I want to play this B flat? But know that whatever B flat you play, as long as the bass note, the lowest note in the piano or whatever you're playing is a D, you'll get the message across of a B flat over D. If I played a B flat in the bass and I played an inversion in my right hand, that's not an inverted chord. That's in root position. Even though my right hand's playing an inverted chord, because the lowest note takes dominance. So as soon as I hear that B flat, it's like I'm in root position, no matter what my right hand's doing. So trying to sort of encourage you to think less isolated in terms of the hands and actually think of them as sort of like a full integrated unit. How are you guys doing with that?
It's blowing my mind, but I'll get there.
I feel like I may have made it sound a bit more complicated than it is. But it's coming from a perspective of like how you approach the piano when you're playing. So when you see that B flat over D, it's really important that the D is the lowest note that you play. The lowest note, the very, very lowest note. Okay, not just the one hand lowest note, the lowest note that you play on the piano, whatever it is.
So,
okay?
So my question is, how do you determine what's inversion to play on the right hand?
So a little bit of practice, a little bit of context, a little bit of where you just came from before, a few other things. I'll pretend that I haven't seen the notation right now, because the notation is revealing something as well. But so say I've come from. No, I just want to do the chord, 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 So there's every Greek opinion, yeah?
Yeah.
Say I'm feeling a bit lazy. I'm just going to move my left hand to D and keep the shape in my right hand. So because it's just come from a B flat and then it's just going to B flat over D. So really what that's saying is that you just need to really prioritize changing the bass note. what I'm saying?
Just change the left hand, you say?
That's the priority. Change the left hand.
Yeah.
The priority is to change the left hand. If you want to get super fancy, you change the right hand shape. But in fact, due to the style and what's warranted, that it's quite a I'm trying to find the right wording. It's actually it's more common practice in this style to move less with the right hand. If you start to move around too much, it just shows that you're eager to please, and it's a bit try hard. So it'd be like, you know, I'd be like, that's just too much. I just want my right hand to stay where it is. The singer's singing their tune, the bass is going to move, you know, and my right hand is just going to keep communicating that B flat in its current position because I don't want to move. I just want to say, yep, every Greek opinion. This is just the right hand. Greek opinion poll. Same thing. Greek opinion poll. You know, but left hand comes into it. Greek opinion poll. I'm running out of keys.
Hold on.
Yeah.
When you say right hand, don't you mean your left hand?
Maybe. What did I say?
Like, isn't the left hand the one that you play with the bass, right? And then your right is doing all the fancy shit.
No.
No?
Sorry. Well, yeah, that's the common conception, is that left hand is just bass and boring, and then we want to move the right hand. But actually, there's more intrigue if you actually move the left hand. There's more interest there, mainly because it defies common perception. Also, I need to move the left hand because the composition dictates that the lowest note in the chord is a D. So if I didn't move the left hand, then I wouldn't be actually playing the song at that point.
Okay.
Now, the reason it's a good point that you make, because generally speaking, if I'm talking about solo piano, sure, yeah, the right hand's going to move at some point, and you know, but there's so much more interest. And I'll just give you a wee example. We just moved into intermediate, by the way, but you know, I'll just keep chatting. Can you sort of kind of hear me? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's say the right hand is just going chords, right? Now, I know my keyboard's not connected, so you won't be able to see it, but you can just listen. It sounds like Rose, doesn't it? Anyway, so the left hand's going to do something. Maybe something interesting, I'm not sure. Call that ode to Bette Midler.
And that left hand, it was pedaling for a while, right?
Yeah, it was.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, actually, even more so, you could say that the right hand was definitely pedaling. You know, that's also another point that you could make, because all that melody was being played by the left hand. My left hand was playing that melody, like a cello. You know, that's how I think of it. That's how I think of when I'm sort of improvising. It's very sort of orchestral approach. But my right hand was the one going. So that's just an indication that. Look, as your ears.
I got.
Did you have it swapped around?
I swapped.
You had it the other way around. Yeah, and again, that's due to common cultural, social, whatever expectation of like. Well, if something's constant and pedaling, then it's going to be the left hand, you know. But here I'm, I guess, demonstrating to you guys that, well, in fact, the right hand can just be pedaling and doing something quite uninteresting, for lack of a better word, whilst the left hand does something, you know. So
is this camera flipped naturally?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Is this camera flipped naturally? Because when you play and refer to your right hand, I'm seeing you play your left hand.
That's why my brain was like, Daniele, you're saying the wrong hand. I was like, you're switching the left side.
It looks like it's your left hand, but it's actually your right hand.
This looks like my left hand?
Of course. Thanks, Jess.
Is that your left?
That looks like your right hand.
It is my right hand.
Okay, I'm
Oh no, it
confused
looks
now.
like your left hand.
Yeah, it does look like your left hand.
Yeah.
So it's flipped.
Oh, it really looks
it's
like your left
flipped.
hand.
Okay. Good
Oh
to
my
know.
goodness.
So this looks like my left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, does that mean it's
Oh,
on
yeah.
your the left side of your screen? Is that what you're saying?
on the right side of our
No.
screen.
Right side.
No,
of-
I think we're
on the right side of your
anticipating that it would be flipped. So we're thinking that it is flipped and it's not.
Okay. I'm going to have to just investigate that a little bit.
I was like, why do you keep saying the wrong?
So
Me too.
I'm trying to conceptualize this.
But no,
Because when I'm moving down the piano to the right, I'm going to go that way. But you're thinking that's my left.
Yes.
I think
Where your
now
piano
we're
is
thinking
in the
it's flipped,
background.
but it's not. We're just
Your piano in the background, it's the notes
ourselves,
that are
like
closest to the door look like the high end of the piano, but it's actually the
Uh-huh.
low end. And then the
Yes.
notes closest
That's
to
why
the
it's confusing.
camera.
Ah,
yeah.
so that looks like my left hand.
Yeah.
That's so cool you guys
What a
worked
time.
that out because I was
What about this?
Oh my god!
Yes.
That's better.
Oh my
that
god,
better?
that makes so much more sense.
Yeah. Okay, now say which
Okay,
one's your
friends.
left hand. Which one is your left hand?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
You know, but it shows up opposite to me, so I guess I'm just getting. I
don't know why
gotta
we
get
don't
used
know.
to
Oh, is
my
it
lefts and
confusing
rights.
to you?
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
hilarious.
I can deal with it. Hi, Isha. Hi, Maninka.
Oh, it's
Hi, Melanie. Hello.
Alrighty.